Good afternoon, students. Let us see that factors. What are the factors that affect our memory, or factors influencing memory? So there are various factors that influence our process memory. First is that intelligence. Intelligence is the also affect our the memory. And do you know that the capacity of memory is more in the high intelligent people? The people who are the high intelligent, their memory power is very high, and the mentally retarded patient or the psychiatric patient, that memory power is very poor. So it is more in the intelligent peoples or normal peoples. Next come the motivation. In the motivation, interest is one element, will is element. So if the person has interest, that it is the interest is always you know that interest is the key of attention. So if the person has interest, they have the good attention towards the information. So information will be stored and remembered and recalled at any time. Then come to the age. So studies prove that the scientists carrying the studies and prove that the age between 20 and 30 is considered the peak age for the storage of the information and remembering the informations and recall it at any time. So after the age of 45, we can the persons cannot do the recall information, remember the informations. If the remembering the information, it will be very slightly decline. If you consider the gender, women have the little advance in the remembering the verbal material or verbal information learning than the memory of the men. Okay. Then in case of health, the persons have good health, having the good memorizations than the patients, than the persons of ill health, and persons who have the psychological problem like anxiety, depression, phobia, etc. That persons has low memory or low remembering power. Then the rest and sleep. The persons who take the rest and sleep has good retention of information. Example of fresh mind peoples remember the informations more rapidly than the tired persons. Okay, and in the longer the rest through by rest the fresh mind, whatever the remember in the past experience, that will be recalled at any time, and the information will also remain in the longer time. Then the repeated practice. Through by the repeated practice or training of the over the object, it improve the memorizations, and we will frequently remember the topic for the long time. Okay, so example is given, that is a student cannot forget their way to going the college even after many years because of this reason, repeated practice. Because in the repeatedly they go to the college in same way, so that at many years after many years also they do not forget the way of the college. Okay, next, interval. If you students read the subject, 2 or more subject, then for the prolonged period given the certain interval time, then will be repeatedly will be remember the subject. Then it is help for the better retention and recall the information at any time. At the information will be, or the subject will be, the lesson of subject will be remember for the long time. Then come to the context. It also influence our memory process. So a good, attractive or appealing environment gives to recalling the remembering the informations, and that information also be remains a long time. So students gain many experience during the tour time, during the program time, rather than the days of classroom. Okay. Laboratory studies also prove that is the gaining the more gaining the experience is higher for the recalling or the information of the memory power, or the memory of information is more high during the laboratory study than the classroom teaching. Okay. Then the meaningful understanding. all experience or reading will not help to us to remember later. Okay, so the persons who what are the studies, what are the gain the experience in the past time, what are the reading, if that reading or the experience if that reading or the experience is not having the understanding full meaning, that word or the sentence, that informations cannot be achieved successfully, and that is not remains long time. Example, the person, if the person is Odia, that persons remember and also be read the lessons very quickly, and it will be achieved and will be stored the information for the long time than the Odia peoples read the Urdu language. If that Odia peoples read the Urdu language, that information cannot be stored for the long time because it is not have the understandable meaning. Then come to the theories of memory. So how when the peoples think that how memory is helpful for the work, to doing the work, so for that reasons various theories is developed. The psychologists developed some theory. So is that theories of general memory function. In this theory, that is the memory will be divided in the three type. The process memory will be divided like the encoding, storage, and retrieval. In encoding, the information will be put in the memory, that is the sensory input will be put in the memory in the process of memorizations, and it also transported into the code. That information will be transferred in the code, then which then it is be stored. So in the encoding process, what happens, the informations will be received and it is input. That information is known as the that information is transferred through by the code system, and that will be stored in the storage system. What happen, the coding informations will be stored in the memory, and and that is that information will be maintained in the storage stage. Okay, and it is also be used future. In the retrieval stage, what happen, the coding informations you will be recollected at any period of time. Okay, at the any period of the time, the stored code information will be recollected according to needed. Then come to the information processing theory.